wall and a 3,000-pound wrecking ball. You won't believe what's left standing. He embraced Native American teachings to reach an altered state.
I very often went to what I thought was the edge.
These mole holes are inhabited by humans. An entire underground city where you dig your own home. One day, she's worshipped by millions. The next, she's shunned by society.
They actually have no life, no existence.
It's the curse of the living goddess. From roasted rodent to dining in the dark, we've got your table for some jaw-dropping meals.
Other people don't believe it.
Unbelievable? Believe it. On Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Welcome to the Ripley warehouse. There is a subculture of people who derive a lot of pleasure from having their bodies pierced. Among these people, there's one man who serves as an inspiration to many others. A man who got his inspiration from, believe it or not, a Ripley's cartoon.
I had this great urge to have some kind of modification and some kind of sensation in my body.
For most of his life, he has thrived on experiencing sensations most people would find unbearable.
I very often went to what I thought was the edge.
And lived in a world few of us would even venture into.
To learn things, to fulfill your purpose in life, you sometimes have to go to those extremes. These are all practices that are used to catapult one into another state of consciousness, into other states of existence.
His name is Fakir Musafar, and he is widely considered to be the godfather of the body modification movement, what some people call a modern primitive. Moving into other states has always been a part of Fakir's life. Even his name was self-created after he saw two Ripley's cartoons when he was a young man. One was about a Persian fakir, which means wonder worker. The second featured Musafar of Iran, a human pincushion who had daggers, horseshoes, mirrors, and padlocks attached to his body. But Fakir's greatest influence came from the Native Americans who lived on a reservation near his home. Their culture had a lasting impact on him.
So I've tried, most of the kinds of body rituals to access altered states that were used by, the Native American peoples, Sufi peoples, and the people of South India.
Afraid of what his family might think, Fakir's startling rituals were always done in private.
I never could let anybody know what I was doing. They would have me in a mental institution. I knew I was sane, but they didn't think that was a sane thing to do.
These incredible black and white images of Fakir, shot over a period of 40 years, document his evolution.
My parents had suspicions of what I was doing. They knew I was a loner. They knew I was peculiar. They knew that something was going on. And when I volunteered or tried to tell them what I was doing or what it was about, they said, "We don't want to hear it."
The unusual rituals, rooted in Native American culture, began simply with clothespins.
One day I just took a few of those clothespins and clipped them on my body, and I had a rather interesting change of consciousness doing such a thing. And so little by little I kept adding clothespins until finally I could make clothespin fans all over my body.
Next, he tried to change his body's shape.
And I had this great fascination with modifying the figure via corsets, wearing them, first 4 or 5 hours a day, then 6, 7 hours a day, then 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day. And after 6 months, I was able to, with my own homemade corsets, be able to lace my waist down to 19 inches.
This success sparked his interest in other procedures.
When I was quite quite taken with was the lengthening of the neck. So I made myself a series of collars. And also I was very interested in taking the body and making it into something like a statue or a sculpture, a living, moving metal sculpture.
Fakir says that he then began to have a series of vivid dreams, which lasted for 10 years.
I would keep seeing myself in these visions with this mark, just going up my back and around the bottom of my body. And I knew somehow that I wouldn't be me or be able to fulfill what my mission was in life until I had this mark.
He later learned that his tattoo was a design created by the Native Americans near his home, and that it had a special meaning.
It usually marks one as being a shaman, a person who deals with this sort of thing, magic.
After further research, Fakir discovered a ritual that would take him to a heightened level of spirituality.
I discovered that a lot of people in American Indian culture where I grew up, and they had a custom of taking young men for an initiation and piercing holes in their chest and hanging them up. In Wyoming, in a sacred Indian place that's near what's called Devil's Tower, Mateo Tipi was to the Indians that lived there. I was suspended in a cottonwood tree and whirled about and hung there for some time and zoomed out into the cosmos. Because when you're hanging this way, you will leave your body and go into other spaces, and you will not be aware that time is passing and you can physically die.
Hindus believe the ultimate test of one's ability to reach an altered state is called kavadi, the ceremony of suffering. Followers build a cage of spears weighing up to 100 pounds. Fakir endured the piercing pain of this monstrosity for over 6 hours. After reaching his ultimate goal, Fakir then decided to open the country's first licensed body modification school.
These young kids, through this, even though it's frivolous sometimes at the start, through their body piercings and their tattoos, are discovering their connection between body and spirit. For all the gifts and all the wonderful things that had happened to me and my experiences, I had to repay for those by being here to show other people how to do this in a more humane and spiritual way.
Okay.
This unique approach to life has truly made Fakir Musafar a shaman for the modern age.
It's enriched my life, and I like to think in some ways, by enriching my life, it's also enriched other people's lives.
When wearing that big cage, Fakir's body is pierced in over 100 places. Well, now that the great Y2K scare lies safely behind us, many survivalists have emerged from their underground bunkers. But in Coober Pedy, Australia, living underground is just a part of everyday life. And nobody seems to be in a big hurry to come to the surface.
Welcome to the harsh Australian outback, where thermometer-shattering temperatures can peak at 120 degrees. It's a beautiful but brutal landscape. But take a closer look at this ocean of sand, where what appear to be molehills rise from the desert floor. Below these mini mountains lies a fascinating, nearly invisible world, an entire city that exists almost entirely underground. It's called Coober Pedy. Founded in 1920, 5 years after its first opals were discovered, it is presently considered the opal capital of the world.
The main reason to live underground is it's comfortable, and it's also very quiet. There's no noise at night time. You sleep well because there's no lights coming in through any windows, and it's quite comfortable.
The residents who live in dugouts find very little reason to come up for air. Why should they, when everything they need is underground? Shops, hotels, offices, even churches. Living underground comes naturally to many of the folks in Coober Pedy. Many of the residents are also miners. The area surrounding the town is blessed with a rich deposit of opals.
Our wonderful, beautiful opals and all their glorious colours and shapes and sizes, and I think there's something for everybody. It's opal. This is the opal capital of the world.
Opals have been mined here since 1915, but it wasn't until an opal boom in the 1960s that the miners came up with an ingenious way of escaping the oppressive, suffocating heat of the outback.
We started digging a tunnel into the face of the mountain
and just made one tunnel in, and then we put our 2 bunks into the tunnel, and so we started living underground, which reduced our temperature to only about 70 degrees, which was a great help.
Longtime resident Jenny Goff recalls how primitive things were back then.
The water supply was very short, and you had to sort of learn to bath in about a jug of water. You'd wash your hair about once a week. That was something.
Now a 3-room home can be dug out underground in just a couple of weeks. After that, plumbing and power lines are run through pipes on the ground. Then that's covered with plastic and cement. Underground wells provide plenty of water, and waste is carried out through a gravity feed. And best of all, the dugouts provide insulation from both summer heat and winter cold. The cost of digging out a home is about $12,000, but dugouts can pay for themselves, especially if you find a stash of opals during the excavation.
Well, for the most of people, of course, they don't find a great deal. The minor might just be subsistence levels, but some people can be spectacularly rich from what they find. A shell such as we've been looking at here is quite valuable, quite rare. But if you found a pocket of these, hallelujah.
The second biggest business here is tourism. Elsa Gladwin runs a motel that gives outsiders a chance to see what life is like underground.
They always complain about not being able to wake up in the morning because it's dark. And they say, oh, we overslept. We should have been up hours ago to get on with our day.
But residents like Pete Lamont will choose one of these dugouts over a house topside any day.
Every dugout's unique, and so you'll go into one dugout and the ground may appear more whitish in colour. You'll go into somebody else's and it'll be more reddish in colour. And so that makes for, yeah, every place is individual, almost like our opals. Each one is individual.
Cooper Petey's golf course is one of the most unusual courses in the world. No grass, all sand. Make sure you bring your wedge. We'll be right back.
Next, imagine being stung over 20,000 times and then wanting more.
It's kind of like a hot match head being laid on your skin. Oh!
This woman swears bee sting therapy saved her life. Also, this guy says he can pop a wheelie on a bike that fits in the palm of his hand. Plus, from a diner where you are forced to eat in the dark.
It's kind of nerve-wracking not knowing what's going to be on your plate.
To the restaurant where after you see what they're serving, you wish it was dark. We taste test unbelievable eateries. That's coming up. Stories you can't imagine. People you won't believe. Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Anything that promises to be a miracle cure should be looked at very carefully, especially a process that requires that you get stung up to 20 times daily by bees. But to a woman named Pat Wagner, the potential gain is definitely worth the pain.
The ominous drone of bees and the fear of a painful sting make most of us run for cover.
A bee sting feels kind of like a hot match head being laid on your skin. And you can't just go like that and get it off.
But Pat Wagner and others like her endure dozens of burning bee stings every day.
Oh! Whoa! Initially, when the bee stings, just like, oh, that's not bad. And about the time you say that, oh, that's when it fires up. Yeah, it's hot and fiery, but it is so worth it.
Pat was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when she was just 19. By the time she was 42, the disease had progressed to the point where Pat couldn't do anything for herself.
I was deaf in my right ear. I was numb all over. My bones felt like they were absolutely made of ice. And I was referred to as a breathing corpse.
And her prognosis was bleak.
She became essentially what we call paraplegic. And she was unable to walk and was in a wheelchair.
It was a miserable thing, and there was no hope from the medical world. I mean, absolutely none.
But only 3 months later, Pat had a conversation with her mother that would change her life.
We had friends who were beekeepers, And they called us and knew how interested we were in her, and would we be interested in getting some bee stings, because they said they had cured arthritis overseas for years.
It's called bee sting therapy. It's a low-cost, low-tech procedure similar to acupuncture. The bees are placed directly on the areas of the body where an MS patient is experiencing shaking, poor circulation, or numbness. Once the sting is induced, the bee's venom enters the patient's bloodstream. According to researchers, compounds in the venom then activate the adrenal, endocrine, and pituitary glands, providing noticeable improvement within minutes.
My first sting, I saw the results 20 minutes after the sting in my knee. My legs were not freezing cold inside anymore.
Pat's doctor was both surprised and excited by her next visit.
She came back to see me again, and at that time, she told me that she was undergoing bee sting therapy and that she herself felt improved, and certainly on her examination, she was now walking independently with significant improvements.
Pat's immediate improvement was remarkable. She started getting stung up to 20 times a day.
What you feel is what's happening to the nerve. Then you may feel almost like an electrical current go down the hand, and you all of a sudden start feeling feelings in your fingers.
Pat's husband Ray says the venom has given his wife a new lease on life.
Bee therapy has restored her vision. It's regained all her senses. In other words, she has no numbness in her body anymore. She feels things where before she didn't feel anything.
Astounded by Pat's amazing improvement, her doctor began to explore the medical implications of bee sting therapy, a treatment that over 10,000 people worldwide were now trying.
There must be something in the bee venom that is in fact useful to help patients with possibly regrowth of the insulation around the nerves, or possibly helping with nerve transmission.
As a result of her success, Pat was filled with hope for not only herself, but others. So she and her husband decided to make the treatment available to anyone in need. Although currently in clinical testing, no medical degree is required to administer the stings. So Pat and Ray, under the supervision of her doctor, opened their home in Waldorf, Maryland to other MS patients and arthritics. As her reputation grew, she became known simply as the Bee Lady.
I never know exactly who's going to come what day, but I'm pretty sure that several others, I'm sure, will be here.
Mary Bean is just one of thousands of MS patients who've received bee stings from Pat.
Exercise.
I really don't think I'd be walking if I hadn't started getting stung.
And when she did her arms and she brought them in, instead of going like this, she just went. It was very, very mild, and I was real pleased with that.
Of course, like any medical treatment, bee sting therapy has its risks.
The major risk with the use of bee therapy would be an acute allergic reaction. And so I have instructed Pat that they have the, we call EpiPen, it's an epinephrine unit with them just in case, so they can always use it.
So far, Pat hasn't had to use it on either her patients or herself.
And myself personally, not that I keep count or anything, but I've had 20,604 stings as of today.
As for those still frightened off by the prospect of bee stings,
I mean, some people are not willing to get a bee sting to be better. So fine, be sick. It's just, why not? Why not get a bee sting? What have you got to lose? A cane, a crutch, a walker, a wheelchair, a deathbed. I lost mine.
What a beautiful day.
Now, not everyone is convinced about the medical benefits of bee venom. The National MS Society says that there's no evidence that bee sting therapy produces any long-term benefits. They urge all MS patients who undergo such treatment to exercise caution.
Ripley's world of unbelievable animals. These bloodhounds are hunting dogs. Unfortunately, they prefer chasing sheep rather than foxes. So their owners gave them this baby sheep, Monty, to acclimate them, hoping the dogs would lose interest in sheep and go back to chasing foxes. The experiment worked better than they could have ever imagined. Monty has a pen near the kennel, but he would have moved in if he could, because this sheep is convinced he's really a canine. When other sheep came around, Monty was terrified. He feels at home with the dogs, and he loves to run, jump, and play with the rest of the pack. Even though he's not quite as agile as a real mutt, he's never let that stand in his way.
The family that plays together stays together. And the Hunt family is the perfect example. And this little tiny bike that I'm not gonna try to ride right now is the perfect vehicle.
This is my baby. When I first made it, I slept with it.
Meet Bobby Hunt. This 5-foot 8-inch man rides the world's smallest bicycle.
I asked my dad, can we build something really, really tiny? And I wanted it smaller and smaller, and so I wanted it to get, you know, in the palm of my hand. And he didn't quite grasp it. He even said, you're getting obsessed with this.
This obsession for the unusual isn't new to Bobby's family. It's clearly in the genes. Take Mom, for example. She really gets around. Or younger brother Billy. He's the fiery one. Then there's Dad. People say he's kind of edgy.
My father is pretty eccentric. He handed all this show business over to me. I would have not have chosen this career. It's way too geeky.
Ever since Bobby can remember, his father was a circus performer. He and his brother followed in his footsteps. However, it was the construction of this tiny bicycle that bonded him and his dad together once and for all.
We made the bike together, at least parts of it, and I'm just as proud as can be.
And as Bobby grew up, the bikes he made with his dad kept shrinking.
So I went from big to smaller to smaller to smaller. But your body can only shrink up so far. The pedals to the seat, it's, you know, can only be so far.
Bobby's bike is only 7 3/4 inches tall and measures just under 3 inches from axle to axle. The wheels are the size of silver dollars.
The pedals, in fact, are the size of 2 of my toes. They barely can fit on a pedal here, and the handlebars are the size of 3 of my knuckles. I can only steer with one hand.
Although the tiny bike is made of materials found around the house, special fabrication was required to make it even smaller.
Now, what I've got are 2 rollerblade wheels, but they were twice the size that I wanted, so I had to bring them to a machine shop, get those laid down. And then on top of that, I got a bicycle seat off of a child's bicycle. It was a little bit flimsy, so I had to rework some of that.
Riding the world's smallest bicycle requires a special talent. Just getting on is a major accomplishment.
I've got to get on 1 foot at a time, because if my toes are not specifically on the pedal, they'll hit the ground and I'll stop, boom, immediately, take a nosedive.
Not only does he ride the world's smallest bicycle, but Bobby's the only one who can do this. Pop a wheelie.
Once I get it going and running, then I can pop the wheelie up. I'll usually do one little one, one bigger one, and then get it going. And once I get it going and I find that exact center of balance, I can let go and do a no-handed wheelie. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end result of 30 years of living in my mother's basement.
Coming up on Ripley's, we travel halfway around the world, where a 4-year-old girl lives like a goddess.
She's worshipped by everybody. She lives a life of a princess.
Plus, this tough guy will take on 2 steel balls that could break every bone in his body when Ripley's Believe It or Not returns.
It's a familiar story. Young Hollywood star achieves great fame and notoriety, then is forgotten as they grow older. It's a very tough fall from grace. Now imagine an entire religion revolving around your every move. At least that is until you reach the age of puberty. Imagine that fall.
High above the rest of the world in the Himalayan kingdom of Nepal lives a real-life princess. She is worshipped by her followers, idolized for her tremendous beauty and waited on hand and foot by her adoring staff. And yet, she is only 4 years old. She is called Kumari, and as our producer in India discovered, she is so exalted, even the king bows before her.
She is put on a pedestal. Overnight, she becomes a goddess. She is worshipped by everybody.
A Kumari, who is required by tradition to be Buddhist, is selected by a religious committee which has a list of 32 characteristics to look at when choosing the right girl. First, she must come from a specific caste or lineage. Next, her horoscope is scrutinized to make sure no evil will befall her. And then she is checked from head to toe for any mark or defect on her body.
From her birth till the time she becomes a Kumari, she should not have fallen down or had any bruise of any kind on her body. No blood should have come out of her body.
There are a total of 3 Kumaris in Nepal, but by far the most exalted is this young girl, the Royal Kumari of Kathmandu. Once chosen, the Kumari is taken away from her parents to live a life within the temple. For 7 years, she's closed off from the rest of the world and can see no outsiders, except once a day for worship and twice a year for religious festivals. That's when a powerful prayer or mantra is carried out, which makes her forget her past.
She forgets that she's losing out on freedom, but she doesn't seem to miss that because the mantra has such an effect on her that she just loses all linkages to leading a normal life.
Although her family is losing a daughter, at least temporarily, they also enjoy a new life of privilege. The government gives them a generous monthly allowance, which some believe might actually tempt a parent into allowing their child to become a Kumari. What a child does not know and cannot understand is that, like Cinderella, there will be one day when the princess once again becomes just an ordinary girl. On the day the Kumari reaches puberty, she is considered impure and must leave her throne immediately. She is no longer pampered, is no longer spoiled, is no longer revered by the public. The transition to private life is difficult. No one knows that better than Anita Saikya, a beautiful former Kumari who's turning 21 today. But unlike other women her age, Anita knows the best years of her life have already passed. 17 years ago, Anita was draped in beautiful clothing and jewels, and every meal was a feast. Today, she lives off a meager pension, has no job, and is not allowed to get one. And while her sisters are married with babies in their arms, Anita is virtually condemned to a life of solitude.
She did not want to step out of her house into the balcony to talk to us because she was so scared that anybody around her house should not watch her, because definitely she and her family both enjoy a very, very special position in the society because of her being a past Kumari.
For Anita, there is no Prince Charming waiting in the wings. Once adored by thousands, an ex-goddess will probably never become a wife. Although it's not forbidden to marry, it's considered bad luck to wed a former Kumari. Tradition holds that if you marry a former Kumari, you will die soon after.
Today she is of marriageable age, though she of course denied that she doesn't want to think of marriage. But I think somewhere down her heart, she has a fear lurking in her because she may not get proposals. She may not have men coming up to her to ask for marriage.
Alone and unmarried, Anita spends much of her time watching television. All that is left for her are mementos of her past. She never tires of looking at the dresses she was allowed to keep and the photographs of the time when she was worshipped as a real living goddess.
Coming up on Ripley's Believe It or Not. Can this Man of Steel withstand a wrecking ball?
The type of things that we do, literally, it can result in death.
Stick around for the battle of man versus metal. Plus, we dine out at the world's most unbelievable restaurants. There's not just candlelight, there's no light. The chef doesn't bring the food to the table, he brings the table to the food. And you won't believe the Blue Plate specials when Ripley's Believe It or Not returns.
Believe it. Welcome back. Wile E. Coyote, super genius. He never could catch the Roadrunner, and he always managed to blow himself up or drop bowling balls on his own head. Reminds me a lot of Ken Richmond. You'll see what I mean. It's one of the oldest methods of testing a man's strength. Try to withstand the most tremendous force possible. But rarely has anyone dared to pit his muscles against deadly obstacles like these. Until tonight. The term strongman seems to have been created especially for Ken Richmond.
Well, bodybuilders characteristically will train for size and not necessarily strength. My training with weight training is all for strength.
His obsession to prove how strong he is began years ago when he and his brother John became experts at martial arts.
We honed all the different skills and the act became very complicated. A lot more breaking, a lot heavier bricks. He did ice, he did concrete, he did glass.
Ken spent years building up both his outer and inner strength. Finally, he decided to try and develop a unique ability, one that would enable him to survive impacts that would kill most anybody else.
Come on.
Now he'll use that knowledge and experience to face his greatest challenge of all. With the help of his ex-wife, Tanya, yes, his ex-wife, Ken is going to try and withstand the impact of two lethal objects. The first is a 45-pound Spanish cannonball salvaged from the Atlantic Ocean. Then a 3,000-pound wrecking ball will be aimed right at him. That's more weight than he has ever attempted to stand up to before.
Without a doubt, being the envy of every ex-wife in the world because I'm dropping a ball on Ken's head.
Despite what seems like an easygoing attitude in public, Tanya, Ken, and everyone else behind the scenes have painstakingly worked out every last detail.
Yep, that's it. Because the type of things that we do, literally, it can result in death. And anytime you're dealing with someone's life, you have to take things very, very seriously.
Now the time has come. Ken kneels down to have a pile of bricks placed on his head. The cannon shot is going to smash into him with a destructive force of 2,600 pounds. That's enough to break every bone in his body.
Got it? All right. Good job.
Having survived that first blow, Ken will now stand up to a 3,000-pound wrecking ball that will be aimed directly into his midsection. If the crane operator aligns the wrecking ball even an inch too far to the left or right, Ken's neck will be broken. Ken gets behind the wall and prepares for the blow. The ball swings back into position. Now it's just Ken versus 2.5 tons of thundering metal, with nothing but a few inches of concrete between them.
I could start hearing the crowd as consciousness came back. I took a deep breath. I was fearful of broken ribs and what have you. I felt really good, a little dizzy. And as I stood up, the consciousness came back. I could hear people cheering, and then I could see people, and then, oh, the adrenaline kicked in. I felt like $1 million.
We'll be right back.
Next, you won't believe these restaurants where they keep diners in the dark. The food bites back. And so does the chef when Ripley's returns. You're watching Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Going out for dinner is one of life's little pleasures. Sometimes it can be one of life's more valuable experiences as well.
Take a trip to Paris, and you'll quickly see why it's the favorite destination for gourmets from around the world. So why is Le Goût de Noir, which means the taste of darkness, one of the hottest restaurants in town?
I heard that it was an incredible experience.
And for me, it's a very, very good way to understand what people who don't see normally, how do they feel. I want to discover this sensation.
You see, the lights aren't just dim at the Taste of Darkness, they're off completely. The reason? Owner Michel Rayac, a French film producer, wants to serve diners a lot more than food.
It allows people to understand what it's like to be blind, completely blind.
It's kind of nerve-wracking not knowing what's going to be on your plate, and not knowing what's going to be in your glass, and not knowing who's going to be sitting next to you.
Diners walk into a pitch-black room. We can only show you what happens next with the aid of a night vision camera.
We bring the guests by groups of 8 into the dark dining room, and they're greeted at the door in complete darkness by the blind guide.
To avoid unnecessary messes, customers are given some important information right off the bat.
In the middle of the table, there is the wine here, and the water here, and in front of you, you have the plate with a salad, and the fork, and knife, and a small spoon.
The guide, who's blind, not only plays the role of a teacher of sorts, but also ably serves the guest, serving hot dishes and clearing away the plates without any mishap. If there is an accident,
I spilled my wine.
It's not the guides who have them. At the end of the meal, the guide returns his unsteady guests back to the world of the sighted, after a quick stop in a dimly lit room to help their eyes adjust.
The only way I could find my food was to actually feel it in the plate. I had a hard time cutting and finding anything.
Taste of Darkness may be the only restaurant where the owner hopes you don't remember the food. It's the experience that counts.
It's just like having a dinner at someone's house, except that your host is blind.
What an experience.
You've heard the expression, his bark is worse than his bite? Well, that's not true in the case of this chef.
When it comes to a well-balanced diet, it's hard to beat mighty-jawed Jackie Del Rio, part of Ripley's history for lifting 2 tables and 6 chairs using only his teeth. If you want to see something like that today, you'll have to dodge the roller skating waitresses and peer past the flashing neon signs to catch a glimpse of a cook they call Mighty Mouth. It's not this burger flipper's healthy appetite that earned him the nickname, but a jaw-dropping act he demonstrates after the night's last order is fired up.
I was really amazed and scared, and I just kind of wanted to run out of the restaurant because it's just weird.
When I saw him, it was just unbelievable. I was like, oh my gosh, it was just phenomenal.
When the kitchen shuts down, this 50s diner on the outskirts of Los Angeles is transformed into a festive Greek party.
If we have too many dirty dishes, we wouldn't want to wash it. So let's break them and then we throw them in the trash.
With the tables now cleared, Pete's ready to show off his vice-grip mouth.
We talk about the real table here. I think he's the only guy. I never see anybody to do that. What he does is, I think, is something unique.
Able to lift an entire table using only his mouth. The boisterous crowd showers him with dollars to show their appreciation. And it's all for an ability Pete says is strictly the result of good genes.
This comes natural. You gotta really want to do something like that. A lot of people think it's fun, good thing to do. Other people don't believe it. Sometimes I don't believe it myself. My dentist is very amazing and surprised how I do it, and believe it or not, I don't visit the dentist very often. Maybe it's a denture, I don't know.
Finally, the food. Here are two world-class delicacies that you may not find on your typical menu, and you may not want to either.
From the outside, this restaurant looks just like any other. But venture inside. Here, when you order a wing off the menu, odds are you won't get a piece of chicken. Bats are the real delicacy. You can buy them live or already prepared. Welcome to the South Pacific island of Micronesia. At the Carp restaurant in Palau, the specialty is fruit bat soup. Customers say it tastes great. But making it takes a lot of preparation. First, the chef boils the bat for 2 hours to sterilize it. She then adds a mixture of coconut milk and salt to the broth for flavor. But she's not finished with the bat just yet. She slices and dices, then adds its parts into the soup. When the bat's finally served, guest not only gets the first taste, he's also given a special honor, the bat's head. We'll let you use your imagination on that. If bats aren't your food of choice, maybe you'll prefer our next stop in Guangzhou, China. Most restaurants try to keep rats out, but here they bring them in. They aren't much to look at, but diners love to dig into them. And chefs like rats because they're a versatile ingredient. They make a great stir fry and can be used in everything from stew to soup. A diet of rat meat is also supposed to have amazing effects on the body. For starters, rats are low in fat and cholesterol, and supporters claim that eating rats can prevent hardening of the arteries, exhaustion, and allergies. Sounds like just what the doctor ordered? Bon appetit!
You may have noticed that all of the bat soup diners were men. The reason? They believe that fruit bats are nature's Viagra. We'll be right back.